And before any presentation or webinar at Royal Roads University, we always acknowledge that our campus is located on the traditional lands of the Cosepsum and the Lekwungen ancestors and families who've lived here for thousands of years. So we're really grateful to be able to do what we do from these lands, even if we are all working remotely from different locations right now. Just want to take a moment to really appreciate and recognize the lands that we are on. So today we're going to be talking about our tourism and hospitality management undergraduate program. So my name is Christy Jones. I'm an education advisor at the university, and I'm joined today by Moira McDonald and Dr. Brian White, who are program heads, and will be going through the information and giving you all of the amazing details about both the BA in International Hotel Management and the BA in Global Tourism Management. We're also joined behind the scenes today by Rhonda White, who will be sharing some information and some links in the chat box and helping us answer any questions from the enrollment services side of things. So just looking at our chat box now. Wonderful, lots of hellos in there, joining from Edmonton. Wonderful, and Alana is here as well, who's joining from our international enrollment team. Perfect. Alrighty, so to get this show on the road, I'll take us through the agenda really quickly. It's been wonderful to see you all. Say hello and welcome, and your welcomes in the chat box. If you haven't yet, feel free to say hi. We'll take us through a brief overview of the Royal Roads University experience, then the program-specific information, application process and requirements, and then of course we want to answer your questions throughout the presentation. So don't hesitate if you have a question. Chances are that somebody else is thinking the same thing, so feel free to type that away in the chat box. Alrighty, so some of the values that we have here at Royal Roads. The first one is first names first. So we provide a really personalized experience at Royal Roads. It's a lot smaller class sizes than some traditional, more lecture hall style of classes. So that means that anybody that you communicate with at the university, whether that's obviously your classmates, but also your professors, student services, like anyone that you interact with within our university community, it's always on a first names first basis. The next one here is Learn Together Forever. So this is a reference to the cohort model we have at Royal Roads, where you start the program with a group of people and learn with them throughout the whole process. And to speak to that a bit more, I'm actually going to share a video from one of our amazing alumni who speaks a little bit to what that cohort experience is like.
There were about 20 students in my cohort from all around the world, and I found it challenging at first to be able to communicate with everyone because of cultural and language barriers. But over 2 years, I became friends with all of the people in my cohort and really got to know their strengths and learn from their experiences. And I think in the future and in the workplace right now, it's helped me become a better team player and a group member in the workplace.
Perfect. So that was Michael, who took our BA in Global Tourism Management. So to continue on here, life is also an education. So we look at who you are holistically at Royal Roads, and the experience that you have collected throughout your life, throughout your work, volunteer history, anything like that when looking at your eligibility for the program. So we will get into that a little bit more further down the line of the presentation when we talk about our standard and our flexible admissions model. And finally, our real world classroom. So everybody that you learn from at Royal Roads is what we call a scholar practitioner. So these are wonderful people who teach you throughout the program who have very relevant work and research experience in the industry. So anything that you're learning is incredibly current and applicable to today's real world issues and problems and industry. A little bit of the campus here. If you've never visited before, the top left-hand corner is Hatley Castle. So that is a focal point on our campus. It was built in the early 1900s, and it is a really beautiful historic building for you to explore. It was, of course, because of public health orders, many of us are working from home right now and our classes are taking place online, but we hope to be able to return to this campus eventually when it is safe to do so. So this is a building that is used as a working building. We have staff in there. We use it for cool film projects and things like that. as well as hosting classes and events and things like that from time to time as well. The top right-hand corner is the Japanese gardens. So right adjacent to the castle there, we have a whole network of beautiful manicured gardens that you can go explore. So the Japanese gardens is just one example of that, but we also have the Italian gardens, the rose gardens, we have a croquet lawn. So we have lots of beautiful places for you to explore. And then also along the bottom left-hand corner, we have Esquimalt Lagoon. So you can also see the ocean kind of behind the photo of the castle there as well. So we are right on the water. It's a bird sanctuary. So it's a very tranquil, beautiful place for you to go and reflect upon your studies, get out into nature and everything like that. And then on the bottom right-hand corner there, we have a bit of an ode to the fact that we've been doing online learning for over 25 years now. So this has been an integral part to who we are, and it's made us very, it's made it very easy for us to adapt to both online and in-person learning when we've needed to during this pandemic. So this is something that is really a big part of the learning experience. And we're also an Ashoka U Changemaker campus. So this is a designation that's been given to a select number of institutions. It means that the education that we provide is really entrepreneurial, it's very interdisciplinary, and it's very solutions oriented. So that is the type of, I guess, philosophy that you can expect to be infused throughout all of your programs. And with that, I will hand it off to my lovely co-hosts today to dig into the programs a little bit more. And firstly, why study tourism and hospitality management at RRU?
Thanks so much, Christy. I just get so excited listening to you, place make with the university, both online and on campus. There's a picture we should add here with our new building, which is an old new building. They've refurbished where our school works out of this Sherman Gen building. It's quite fantastic. We'll have to add one of those. I noticed that would be really great. Why study tourism and hospitality management at Railroads? There's a demand for you. There's a demand for your leadership skills. There is a demand for you to be a part of one of the biggest economic contributors worldwide, from community-based right through to big picture making, policy making at the government level. So the courses that you'll take afford you transferable skills. You might do your undergrad, do a fantastic internship, which we'll talk about later, and then you might find yourself taking that degree with those skills and coming back and doing graduate studies, either in Canada, in BC, or abroad. So there's a need for you right now, I think, is probably the biggest thing to talk about. We're in a completely new space of renewal and rejuvenation, revisiting what's been thought to be the way we would always work. And you have a chance to work with some incredible instructors who are at the top of their game in the industry and have used that as an extension with the students to get students involved. So I think now, why study? I think now is probably more than ever an important time to dip your toe in this ocean. Look at that nice picture. and take a look. Later on, you'll see some of the courses that might resonate with you. And we work very closely with, in the hotel side of things, we work very closely with the BC Hotel Association, Hospitality Association, and we connect very deeply with the partners in BC. So I'd say that this is probably a really important time to show up in an education that aligns with what one of the biggest economic drivers is globally. So we'd love to have you and to work with you in that realm, both in tourism and hospitality. Thanks for letting me share that. Over to you, Brian.
Okay. Thank you. One of the things about this particular program is that it is the culmination of many, many years of curriculum development, which has gone on for years and years and years. And it's now at a point where British Columbia educational services in hospitality and tourism are among the best in the world. And if you take a look at the actual listing of courses that you see here, you can see that the range of opportunities that we have are remarkable in the sense that it represents a significant component of British Columbia's tourism activity. And tourism in British Columbia has evolved and developed both from a marketing and development point of view and educational point of view for many, many years. And I've been privileged to be involved in that particular activity. If you take a look through, you can see the different topic areas. And you might notice also that what we offer here is available around the world. All of the things we offer at this particular program in both the global tourism management and in international hotel management, you can move around. We have a number of international students here as well as domestic students. And one of the things that everyone recognizes that as they go through the program, whichever topic you would decide to focus in on, and we'll be presenting some things on the internships later on. What you can do is you've got this network of friends that you carry on through. And that's part of the values that we have at Royal Roads. If you go through the different topic areas, they all overlap. The competences and skills that we teach in the curriculum here are available and move back and forth and are paralleled in many cases between the two programs. In some cases, they're much more explicit and much more specific, but in other cases, you'll find that you have an opportunity to focus in and do the things you enjoy most and which you're most interested in either one of the two programs that we offer. Okay, so if you look through the list there, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions or anything specific, use the chat box and get in touch with Moira or myself, and we can carry on with. Okay, so okay, over back to you there, Moira.
Thanks, Brian. We have a variety, I appreciate that. We have a variety of degree completion options that we can show you. That's on the next slide. It's a little crazy slide, but if you wanted to have separate conversations offline about what this would look like for you specifically, we can certainly do that. So what you'll see here is that we offer both the Masters of Arts in Tourism Management. That's a conversation we're more than happy to have with anyone who'd like to be in graduate studies. For the purposes of this particular webinar, we're talking about undergraduate studies. So you may be someone who has a diploma right now, and you would be interested in coming into our third year. So with your diploma, you have enough credits to enter into our third year of the program. And then that would allow you to explore the courses, some specializations, some research you might be interested in, both either BA IHM or BA GTM. So you'll see those courses in a few moments. You might be someone who is coming from a space where there's not enough credits, that you might have some but not enough, in which case you'd be welcome to come into our second year. Or you started at Royal Roads in the first year or elsewhere, and you have enough credit to move into our second year from maybe a private college, you've got some training, or you have some industry experience, but you'd like to start in the second year and get a better understanding of the academic world that you'd be entering for this degree. So there are pathways to offer you. We also have something very exciting occurring in the near future, so we'll get you to stand by for that particular extra pathway that will be announced shortly as well, that you might be interested in. You'll see the arrow here on internship. So one of the foundational pieces in our undergraduate studies is the opportunity to intern, both at the third year or the fourth year of your program, and at the graduate studies level. So we have a full force of people that help you from I guess a personalized view of what you want to do and where you would like to get an internship. The opportunities right now, which I have a slide to show you, of the students who are interning in the last year and in this year, and some of the locations that are happening are quite fulsome. And they're moving on to the point now where those students are hiring the new students. So now they're working full time in their careers and they're hiring my students, which is, I couldn't be more excited to get the phone call to say, I have a supervisory position. Do you have anyone in mind that we could hire? So this is just the most full circle opportunity. So I'm very excited about that. I would suggest if any of this is piquing your interest, we could have separate individual conversations to help position you with where you are in your life and career choice, and where you're interested in your degree and or diploma or certificates or graduate studies. We'd be happy to help you with that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Moira. Now let's take a look at some of the specific courses that you're going to engage in if you take the BA in Global Tourism Management. At the very top left-hand side, you'll see a selected topics outline. This allows some variety each year and allows us to bring in specialized educators from around the world with a strong background. This year, for example, we're featuring a very interesting course in hopeful tourism, which has attracted a lot of attention. As you go down the list, some of the courses are more theoretically oriented and talk about tourism in a more globalized sense, like globalization and tourism, which is one of the first courses you would take in the third year of the program. Events management, once again, is something which is used across the board. I'm sorry about the sound in the background. That's having my house painted at the moment, okay. Field school, this allows us to get out in the world, to have a look around, do some camping, and visit different key places around the West Shore, and often we go up to Tofino on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Research, essential skill, whether you're going on for a master's degree or you're going out into the industry, research skills are absolutely critical. Ethical issues, once again, this again is a very important component. Multicultural management, we're all working in a multicultural educational environment at Royal Roads, and when you go out there, you're going to be in a multicultural workforce, no matter where you go. Career development, we've touched on that. The career development is tied in obviously to the internships and deciding what kind of direction you wish to go in. Digital communications, absolutely critical. Product development, once again, things are changing fast. You've got to be able to be innovative and keep up with how things are going in the field. Policy and planning. One of the things about British Columbia is we have excellent quality people in terms of keeping up and maintaining and developing planning and policy, not only at the provincial level. We have contacts with the federal level as well. Certainly our director, Eugene Tomlinson, has a great background in that. It's essential to understand the different levels at which policy and planning actually occurs, and that's something we teach well. Destination management and marketing, that's of course I teach. Something I'm really excited about because it really is one of the central piece in terms of how destinations are competitive and maintain that competitive position over time. Human resources, essential. Everyone's going to be working and managing a workforce and leading in the workforce. Entrepreneurship, once again, another element for looking at and focusing in on new, exciting ideas and developing companies. And the last couple, financial management, critically important, and strategic management. So these have evolved over time. They've changed. Each year, we upgrade individual courses and we upgrade the program as a whole in both of the programs which we offer in the school, at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level. So it's a pretty exciting and interesting outline. It's quite a remarkable kind of opportunity to get in here. And once again, you get through the program, you make friends, you've done your internships that Moira described, and then you maintain those relationships and those personal connections on social media as you get out in the world, and these can lead to jobs, okay? Our graduates, as Moira mentioned, hire our current students into their internships, and so it goes. I've been involved in this field for many decades, and I can see I've got actually some of my graduates have retired now, okay? So I would point out that this system works. It works well, and it's exciting to be involved in it. Now I'd like to hand it over to Moira.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate your enthusiasm. My graduates aren't retiring yet, but they are having their families. So we're certainly coming at this from a big family space. I think one of the words I would use as well is just a lot of fun. There's a lovely co-relationship between both degrees. We all work out of the same fantastic building on campus, and there's opportunities just to really grow those relationships, networks, and friendships, which we would always encourage. The courses here, I won't go over them all, but you might see something here that jumps out at you that you're interested in. Some of the courses on numbers with like revenue and yield management, those are big jobs in the industry. It was my background with the Fairmont chain for many years. You would be very happy to know that the finance course is a very action research based course that you will do a feasibility study. You would have an artifact at the end of it to show an employer. We look at a footprint of a hotel downtown at the Inner Harbor and what that would look like. Really, really fantastic applied research that you would be looking at in these courses. I get very excited about the digital communications course, where the instructor in these courses are so knowledgeable about how to help with your ideas on marketing. I get very enthusiastic about the multicultural management and communications course. Really goes back to what Michael Pinchon said at the beginning on his video, where he talked about being able to meet and connect with new people from around the world that he might not otherwise have met. And this particular course is very powerful in those personal growth moments. My international hotel management, that course is very dear and deep love of that course for me. I'm a luxury brand hotelier, and I love to see our students get their internships in any part of the industry, whether it's economy, mid-range, or luxury brand. But we do work with those hotels that offer the student work exchange programs, and we work within those big brands globally. And our students are looking at everything from senior assisted living, youth hostels, working through the range of accommodation that's out there. So all of these courses help you be maybe a little more analytical, maybe find your leadership space that you may already have, that you know that you have, and you just want some more education in that area. We get a big return on all of these courses because they are taught by those scholar practitioners that Christy mentioned earlier. And by extension, you're able to participate in very relevant topics, carbon neutral topics right now in the hotel industry, working with the destination management organizations, looking at tools that are available in BC and analyzing them in a classroom with a skilled leader to help you figure things out as you go. Very much a time for all of us right now, and I'm probably more excited about what's ahead than I could possibly have been if I was talking about this even 2 years ago. So there's a lot of space for you in all of these courses and a lot of fun. For those of you that would be joining new to Royal Roads this fall, I've got a Facebook page ready to go that you can, for fun, where you can start to meet people that'll be coming from all over Canada and the globe, and start to make your relationships in May, June, July, and August. You don't have to wait till September. So I think that's really helpful. In these courses, we've also driven our research agenda. So we've noticed a lot of our students are going on to grad studies. So we've added a research methods course to your suite of topics here. And we're seeing students win some awards, big Canadian awards, and we're tying that into a newsletter for you to share, which Christy will be able to get soon, and I'll have her share this out with the group. Things that are happening, really fun things in the second, third, and fourth year. So our second year students, for example, are working with a simulator with an ice cream truck, a food truck. They're learning accounting through a simulator with an ice cream truck, and it's just been great. So that social enterprise space is all wrapped into the course. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the students in third year that are working with industry leaders and that I mentioned earlier. And our fourth year students are trying to take shape now of what they want going forward. And right now we have over 20% already placed in internships in the fourth year. So I'll be looking forward to talking about that a little bit in the future as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you both. And before we get into our section about the applied learning and the different experiential learning opportunities you will have as part of these programs, I wanted to share another video from one of our alumni about this piece here and making the most of your experience.
My biggest piece of advice for future students would be to be completely open to every experience and opportunity that is offered during your time at Royal Roads. Regardless of how much experience you may already have or something you think you may already know, allow yourself to soak up every moment of being a student in the program.
Perfect. So that was another one of our alumni from the Global Tourism Program.
So we like to get you out there. We like to get you on the world stage. We'll push the comfort envelope a little bit, and you and your new friends in the class will be able to join others in BC in post-secondary learning and demonstrate whatever you feel you want to put forward in conferences. In the Impact Conference, we really enjoyed hosting that in Victoria. We go out and participate in field studies. The dine around, we go to the conference center and enjoy that as part of your industry analysis course. There are opportunities for you to take the podium and present your research. And this is where you're applying. So anytime we see these opportunities, Brian and I will jump on it and bring it forward to you. I suspect that, of course, the last year with all of the Zoom and virtual meetings, that might not be, as exciting for our last year, but we did expand the participation because people were able to attend that might not otherwise have been able to. So we did have a very big, robust year of attending virtual conferences. We have event management groups that work with us, and you'll see where you will get into the back of the house, the front of the house, working volunteer that's specific to your area of interest. And we even do that on campus too, where we have ambassadors, campus ambassadors, and positions where you would be able to work with the Royal Roads community on campus and do some applied learning as well. So there's quite a bit on this, and I think we'll be talking a little bit more about it later, as will Brian when he talks a little bit about field studies. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview. And for this slide, to talk about the conferences. So we have the Young Hotelier Summit that 2 students will attend from my class of either 3rd year or 4th year. In fact, one of the students in the first photos at the beginning was one of the attendees this year. Virtually, and next year I don't know if the students will be running it virtually or in person, but the 2 students in the middle of the picture were the last 2 to go to Switzerland to represent Royal Roads at the Young Hotelier Summit, where they networked extensively with 100 other students from around the world, and they competed in a challenge. So lots of engagement there. And in BC, we have our own industry conferences that we engage with our students and allow you to really showcase yourself as much as possible. So it's a really empowering place for you to participate as much or as you wish. So those are a couple of examples.
Okay, so one of the things that Royal Roads has always focused on is the idea of getting outside and having experiential education opportunities. Well, these can be, in this case, you can see the example of Comic-Con, which was very much involved over the last few engagement in the last few years. We've also had field trips up to Tofino, up Vancouver Island to visit different destinations in the Global Tourism Management Program. We have a regular focus on going out there and making the connections with introducing students so they can get comfortable with the people in the industry and visiting different sites, different circumstances, and getting a sense of what the opportunities are out there. Going out there and seeing it and feeling it yourself, whether it's whale watching or whatever it happens to be, it gives you a sense of where you would like to go. And that is in the kind of program that we have here is an essential way forward for when you want to become an alumni, when you want to maintain the connections. So building connections in the program is essential. And those out of classroom experiences really matter, not only in the sense that you get a chance to see a big chunk of British, southern Vancouver Island, and in the past we've gone up to the mainland as well. We've gone up to the Rocky Mountains. These opportunities are really unique, and they really make a difference to your overall sense of the learning that you've got in the classroom. So we try to make sure that you get a comprehensive kind of feeling about the programs that you're in and where you're going to go. You have a better sense of organizing the steps forward for yourself, a more of a strategic sense, once you've been outside and you've talked to people who are currently maybe graduates and are working full time, or people out there in fields that maybe you've never even thought about going into. So it's a critical component. I'm really looking forward to getting back to having genuine trips out into the world once this pandemic falls away. And I think it's going to be coming up fairly soon, assuming that things unfold as they should. Okay, over to you, Moira.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate again your enthusiasm. There's some great comments in the chat that I know our advisors are going to be taking a look at, but I just want to jump in and start talking with you. But that's not for me today, so I will let our good advisors explore here. I think what we're going to see next is looking at the international exchange opportunity. Yeah, okay. This is great. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, so we've got international exchange, and this has been going for quite a while. We have, particularly in the BAGTM, we've had long-standing relationships for more than 5 years with Hochschule in Munich, the Innsbruck, the MCI, IMC Krems in Austria, and more recently, although we haven't had any exchanges set up just yet, Western Norway University, and also with SUAS in Salzburg. We've had regular people going back and forth. Recently, this coming year, we also have one going to Kung-hee, which Moira, I think, is going to address in a couple of minutes. But these really build your sense of global understanding of tourism and hospitality. As you go out into these places, you meet other students in other countries. The courses that you take overseas are in English, but you do get that international experience, which is such an important element in globalized tourism and hospitality management at the present time. So these things are really, really interesting. So we'll see. We're hoping to see this particular element of the program expand and redevelop again. It just hasn't, obviously because of the pause which has occurred through COVID, obviously it's been a bit of a downtime for us, but we are expecting to see some opportunities coming up in the next little while. Okay, over to you, Moira.
Thanks, Brian. I had 2 students last year go to Sydney to the Australian exchange. That's the first time that agreement was put in place, and the 2 students went there for their internship. So they had a great experience. On your screen is some places where the internships have taken place. And this is just growing and growing. I suspect to see even more place marks after our cohort goes through this year and next. So it's clearly a global exchange opportunity. If you're joining us in the second year, traditionally you would have been helped to have an exchange in your summer between second and third year in Victoria or in BC. So we would normally help with that. I have a student right now just accepted to Whistler. I have another student actually accepted to 2 students in the second year going to Banff, and 1 interviewing, I think, right now in Jasper. So we would, they would tend to be staying in Canada for their second their first summer between second and third year. But based upon obviously the global pandemic, we've said if you're at home and you want to do your internship there, that's totally fine. So we have just seen an interesting, tremendous opportunities for folks in our hotel industry abroad right now, because they're already at some of their locations at home. And then we also have the third and fourth year students would be doing their internship, and that's a global, that you can take that anywhere you want as well. So we help with that, and we structure it. It's a course that you take, that you work with us, and we work on leadership and your supervision skills and your reflection and what you've learned and gathered from it, and have opportunities for you to continue. If you do your internship after the fourth year, then you can continue and stay where you're working, where you are now, and growing in that space. So our careerists stay where they are and enjoy it and keep going, and then hire our students, and it's getting quite fantastic. And some students have decided after their internship to go to graduate studies because they have a particular interest in an area and they want to pursue that. So Brian showed slides earlier and talked well about the coursework. So in that coursework, there are also other studies. So human resources management, for example. So some grad students are going on to pursue that. Also at the diploma, graduate certificate level, going on to explore those certificates you can get into after you have your degree. So there's quite a lot happening. In this internship slide, you can see placements quite far and wide. And I think we'll see some more pins going into South America from this past year as well. And a few of us are working in that area going forward. And Eugene Tomlinson, Dr. Tomlinson's on this call as well, our school director, and he has a terrific selective topics course right now that people are learning how to speak Spanish, and they're engaging with students in school there. And I'm not sure, Eugene, if you're want to unmic and maybe talk or unmute on your mic and talk about that for a moment. You're more than welcome if the timing works for you.
If there's a moment or two, sure. This past year, we entered into we've had an agreement with a university in Guadalajara, Mexico for a while, but this past year, we decided to try something new and exciting, where our students in year 3 actually worked with some students down in Mexico live on some assignments. And we're currently working on a next phase to this project, where the students from our university will get an opportunity to work on an actual project down in Mexico. Right now, it's all remotely, of course, with COVID and that sort of thing, but it's an exciting opportunity where you actually will get to make a difference in communities' lives and apply many of the concepts and ideas that you take in the courses, learning real life examples of community development, product development, and destination development. So it's just a lot of fun and a great opportunity to learn another culture, another language, and make more networks, as Brian and Moira have been mentioning about. So lots of exciting things happening in the undergrad programs period. Thanks.
Thanks, Eugene. Appreciate that. I wanted your voice on that because you've been driving it and doing such a great job with it. Thank you so much. That's our school director, everyone. Thank you again for that. I appreciate it. This slide is on the career, what could be ahead for you. I think we've given you a little bit of insight. But what's missing in this insight is you. So you add your special skills and your understanding and what you're bringing to tourism and hospitality into this, and then you just carve out exactly what you're looking for in all of these moments with the new friendships, with the classrooms, with the academic learning, with your research. There's so much here. Sustainable development goals. We work very closely with that list of SDGs, and it's a very important piece. And of course, we also have our Masters of Arts in Tourism. So we have a lot of students at the graduate level that are there to engage with too, should you wish to have conversations with folks who are studying at that level with their workplace in mind, because they're all careerists as well, in coming back to go to school and to up their skills. I think the key word here for me would also be leadership, and then teamwork that's mentioned in the last line, the teamwork that Michael mentioned at the beginning in the video clip. And what I see is the leadership growth of individuals. We have a school of leadership in Royal Roads, and we hire in that school to teach you in your leadership course. So we really go for the expertise and bring that to you. Our communications school at Royal Roads, we go to that school to teach you through the multicultural and communications course. We really take a full advantage of the expertise on the campus as well. And the depth of hospitality and tourism in our program is exceptional. We work with people far and wide that are making a difference across British Columbia and on Vancouver Island. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to be discussing some of the profile of the BA GTM students. We've been going for several years now, 5 or 6 years, and we've done this particular year. I'm very pleased to say that we placed all of the students that wanted an internship in an internship. So we're very happy about that. I'd also point out that, as Moira previously mentioned, there's a wide range of different opportunities around the world whereby we can help get the connections in place, because we have a wonderful work integrated learning school program here, and they work very closely with us to actually make sure that you make the connections and you go through the process to make sure that everything's going to happen. Once again, reinforcing the idea that the cohort learning is a powerful component in what happens after you graduate, as well as while you're here. Not only is it fun, but it's also an exciting opportunity to build lifelong relationships, people that can help you later in your life by letting you know about jobs and everything else. The real fundamentals of being in hospitality and tourism are reflected in the way in which the programs are structured. So we have people who are experts in the field coming in to teach as associate faculty members and as full faculty members. We have students who bring a huge amount of experience into the classroom. We have people of all ages in the program. They're not just all people just coming straight out of other schools. They're people who have worked for a while, people who have done a number of different things, people who have traveled widely. So we all learn together. It's a learning community, and that's a particular focus of Royal Roads, that we've got that opportunity to learn that way. So also, I think another point to be made about both the International Hotel Management Program and Global Tourism Management is the fact that you get people who pay attention to you. I think it's a really, really important element to say that if there's an issue or a problem, we're on it very quickly once we know about it, and we try to help you through it and provide the support that you need, because both programs are fairly intense, and therefore you need that support, and you get it from the other students, you get it from your teams and the rest of the cohort, but you certainly get it from the faculty, and importantly, a great staff. We have excellent staff here who look after a lot of the administrative details, but also people that you very often are going to call if you have a problem. And I just want to focus on the great staff support that we have in both programs and in the rest of the university. They are really on the case, and they're very, very student-centered. So that's something I'd like to push forward. And once again, we're also interested to find out what new internships and opportunities you have, and how we can support you to move forward in your personal goals of where you want to go. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a career learning development group. The support student services support section is very, very good at the school. It's just a quick snapshot of some of my gang going out. I mentioned earlier about the different range of hospitality accommodations that you might be interested in internships. These are some folks who excel in each and every moment. And I can see a few faces on my screen here that also participated in the Young Hotelier Summit. They had that opportunity, and some award-winning faces on this screen as well. And I think the slide that's coming up, or the video coming up next, is actually one of our students that did participate in the Young Hotelier Summit. It's Haley Gong, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Christy. And Haley had a terrific experience with the Young Hotelier Summit, and she is going on to graduate studies after this summer. So I think that tees up your video, does it, Christy?
I would like to use 2 words to describe my cohort experience: respect and attention. In railroads, everyone's word will be heard, and you will never feel you are ignored by your cohort. Usually, our cohort consists of 20 to 30 people, so you will really have a good chance to get to know each other during one semester.
Thanks. Sorry, I had a dog barking there. And these are just some examples that are popping up today, yesterday, last week, and my phone is telling me now that some people have secured internships in the resort communities in BC as well. So we have some students who are staying at home and getting some great jobs at some of these fantastic luxury spots, and some that are here and stayed here before the pandemic and stayed and are securing Alberta and BC internships. So I'm just really excited for them, and I'm excited to see them in September when they come back and share and add to the classroom experience based upon their internship. I think that just really makes a big difference in your teamwork and who you're working with based upon these experiences that people get all summer. And it's a lot of fun. They certainly have stories, and the stories are what we're all about. So you add a little bit of a recipe of your story and your own experience and your own personal interests in your career and going forward, and it's a great recipe. Thanks, Christy.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Moira and Brian, for all of this information. With that, we're going to get a little bit more into the application details. If you do have any questions about anything that we've just talked about, though, feel free to pop them into the chat box and we'll get to those as we go along too. So I saw there was a few questions around application requirements, admission requirements, and things like that. So hopefully some of these slides up ahead will answer your questions, and we'll try to answer them as we go along. So for standard admissions, this would look like 2 years or 60 credits, post-secondary education and university transfer or diploma program in areas such as hospitality, tourism, business administration or equivalent, a minimum of B GPA, 24 of credits at the second year level, post-secondary financial accounting course with a minimum grade of B for international hotel management only, and 400 hours of tourism and hospitality experience. And this is reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So if you aren't sure if you fit quite into that box, feel free, please reach out to us and please apply anyways, because we also have what we call flexible admissions. So this is what I was speaking to a bit more at the start of the presentation, where we look at who you are holistically and what your different experiences are like. So a flexible admission could look like considerable work experience in the hotel tourism industry, preferably 5 to 7 years of mid to upper level professional experience, post-secondary financial accounting course with a minimum of B. And these are reviewed on a case-by-case basis again. And then applicants who come through the stream will normally be required to take the academic and writing and critical thinking course. And we hear from lots of students that this is actually a very helpful course to take either way, just because it really sets you up for everything you're about to learn in your program, especially if it's been a few years since you've been out of school. If you did your diploma earlier on, this is a really great course to take. So I saw there was a few questions in regards to specific applications and things like that about your own qualifications. And we do recommend that you reach out to our team here. Rhonda, if you're applying as a Canadian student, or Alana, who's been helping in the chat box, if you're applying as an international student, to dig in a little bit more about your own circumstances there. And then as well, with the transfer agreement aspect of things, we'll get into that a little bit later, because I did see a question regarding that. So some key dates. The 2021 intake starts on September 7th, 2021, and the application deadline is June 7th, 2021. And then if you're planning for the year after that, the 2022 intake is September 12th, and the application deadline would be in June as well. And we do recommend, if you're applying as an international student, up to like 6 months ahead is great for applying nice and early, so you can ensure that you can get everything together for your study permit if you are going to be on campus. So something to really start thinking ahead about if you are thinking about taking the program. So a little bit more of the details on how to apply. To start off the process, there is an application fee of $126.28. And then there's some supporting documents that we will need from you. So official transcripts from whichever institutions you've previously attended. These need to arrive to us sealed at the institution. So we always like to say, if you want to take a peek at your grades and things like that, feel free to get one set of transcripts sent to yourself, and then the other one sent straight to us, because those do need to arrive sealed. And then right now, things can be a little different depending on your institution, based on if they're sending mail copies or email copies, but we are accepting emailed official transcripts as well, if that's the case. And then the detailed resume. So this can be a lot more detailed than your typical job application resume. I would say it can be as lengthy as you need to communicate anything that would contribute to your eligibility into the program. So that can be, of course, your education experience, work experience, but as well, things like volunteer, any specific projects you've been a part of, conferences you've attended, anything like that. Feel free to jot that down. And then to go with that, there's the personal statement, or also called the statement of intent. So this is a really great document to really like map out and lay out why you want to be in the program. And again, talking about all of your experiences that would contribute to your success in the program. And this can be a little daunting. I had to write one of these myself for a different program that I've previously taken at Royal Roads. And believe me, once you get through it, it's actually a really rewarding process, because you really get to identify your why and affirm for yourself why you want to go into this program. And then finally, 2 letters of reference. So it's best if these ones come in the form of one from a past employer or previous employer, and one from an academic reference. But there is a little wiggle room there if it's been, say, a number of years since you've been out of school or things like that, to be able to provide those references. And Brian and Moira, I was wondering if there's anything that you'd like to add as far as what you look for in the personal statement or application and things like that. Yeah, feel free to jump in if there's anything I missed.
Just your passion for it, just right from the heart. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be, you know, English perfect or academically sound. We're just, you know, the ingredients I mentioned earlier is just your passion for the industry, and you'll be with like-minded classmates as a result. So debates are really good. We have ethics debates. We have debates about what, you know, things look like, you know, around the world, or experiences. So any you know, the passion for why you want to take this degree is just right from your heart. And that's an easy read. It should be just really authentic. I think would be all I would say. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, what I look for is stories. Tell me your story, okay? So what is it that makes you an interesting person for this particular field? What have you got to talk about? What do you, as Moira says, what are you passionate about? What matters to you? What can you actually give to other people in the program? This is a learning community. So we're quite interested in seeing how you interact in the letter. You know, we can't tell everything from it, but we can certainly get a sense that you've got something to add. And we've had so many fascinating and interesting students coming through this program over several years that we look forward to finding out about you. So yeah, tell us your story. What have you got to say? Where do you want to go? What kind of experience have you had? Those things matter. Thank you.
That's a great point, Brian. And maybe there's a particular community area that you want to take your work back to. One of our students has finished the degree that will be finishing in August, and is taking it all back to his community. And his aim and purpose there was to learn here and bring it home and change the economic drivers in his community. So you may just have the passion that you just want to learn more and have a degree, and that's great. You might want to learn more, have a degree, and take it somewhere immediately to have an impact. Or you may want to think about what's your impact down the road. Or you could feel your story is one of personal growth. So it all matters is I think my key point.
Perfect. Thank you both. And yeah, as far as also we had a question about transfer agreements and all of those sort of things about actually going easily from one program to another. And this one was in regards to Eton College. So we do have transfer agreements with Eton. And Rhonda, you may have already added the link in the chat box at some point, but if you could also add a link to the transfer agreements we have with different colleges, that would be amazing, but definitely something to look into if you are able to do that block transfer. And then financial aid, like Brian was saying earlier, we have amazing support staff at Royal Roads, and the financial aid department is one of those amazing groups. So I've reached out to them when I was a student at Royal Roads and found they were so helpful and helped me find solutions that I didn't know were out there, and also helped me with my student loans and things like that. So it's definitely an awesome resource to reach out to if you are looking into it. And we do have a smaller student body at Royal Roads. So I always like to say that you do have a pretty good chance of getting some of these funding opportunities if you just put your application in. So it's definitely worth doing. And then as well, I saw we had a question lining up with financial aid, wondering if Royal Roads is an approved institution for Canada and Alberta student loans. And yes, it is. And Rhonda popped a link into the chat box as well with more information on our financial aid in general and such. So definitely something to look into. And our enrollment services team. So Rhonda and Alana have been helping us out in the chat box today. They're an amazing example of both our domestic and international enrollment teams, but we have a whole team that you can reach out to as well as them if you have any questions that come up after this. So the top email there is for if you'd be applying as a Canadian student, and then the bottom emails there are for if you'd be applying as an international student. So they are there to help if you have any questions that come up after this webinar. And with that, I would like to do a last call for any final burning questions that are out there. And as well, like Moira and Brian, if you have any final words that you'd like to share before we close out the webinar today, now's the time.
Okay, maybe I can jump in on that.
Take care and be safe.
Okay, just a couple of comments. One of the things about any professor or teacher that makes life really worthwhile is to get students whose lives have been advanced and taken forward because of the programs that they've taken in the school that you have to be responsible for. That is what makes life really important, I think. And hopefully I'm speaking for Moira as well. I think I am. It's the idea that we have made a difference. Okay, just like we want you to make a difference in your community, in your future, with other people that you're going to be working with. That's what matters, and that's why we really hope you'll join us. And I can honestly say that you're going to get a great experience out of it. So that's my last word on it. So Moira. Okay.
Thank you, Brian. It's great. Thanks, everybody. Take care and be safe.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And I don't see any other questions in the chat box, but if we did miss your question, or if there's anything else that comes up along the way, feel free to reach out to us. And yes, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining us again today.